Durham and Northamptonshire shared the honours on a day where bad light and low scores dominated. After 4 games, Durham still find themselves 48 points adrift at the bottom of Division 2, following their 3rd defeat in 4 matches against Glamorgan on Monday. Visitors Northamptonshire are 4th in the table, but are without Ben Duckett on Lions duty and Richard Levi, who suffered concussion last time out. Rain kept players off the park, but Durham went into bat after lunch. Stephen Cook was accounted for by his countryman Rory Kleinveld, before Nathan Buck found the edge of Keaton Jennings' bat. Runs followed through Cameron Steele and Graham Clark, but their partnership ended at 31 when Buck rapped Clark on the pads. Collingwood followed immediately after, caught by Hughes, before Steele succumbed to Ben Sanderson, Adam Rossington's second catch behind the wicket. Ryan Pringle was then dismissed for a duck, LBW to Azarullah. Durham went to tea 117 for 6. Bad light held up play after the resumption, but that's all the respite Durham would get as they capitulated to be all out for 166. First to go was Richardson, followed by Coughlin, then Irishman Barry McCarthy as Book took his 5th and finished with 6 after he ended number 11 Gavin Main's defiance LBW. Rob Newton went early as Northamptonshire began their innings under heavy skies, caught by Paul Collingwood off the bowling of Coughlin, before the Irish connection of Pointer and McCarthy accounted for Alex Wakely and combined once more to dismiss Keogh. 13 wickets falling on day 1 at Chester Street, Northants getting to 59 for 3 with some late boundaries from Chesney Hughes. All to play for on day 2. Day 2 again went to Northants as they bossed proceedings at Durham. Durham had capitulated for just 166 on day 1 at Chester Street, Nathan Book taking a career best 6 for 34, but Durham would have felt well in the match, capturing 3 wickets of their own before the close. Max Holden and Chesney Hughes at the wicket, Barry McCarthy with a good shout first ball of the day. Jennings then fluffed a sitter off Holden before Coughlin had Hughes caught behind, the batsman not even bothering to look before he walked off. From there though, it was all Northamptonshire. Adam Rossington with a quick-fire 65 off 71 balls, as he and Holden added 97. He became McCarthy's 3rd victim, caught by Jennings. Holden brought up his 50 in the next over, and Northants went to lunch 197 for 5. There was no respite for the Durham attack after the break, as Josh Cobb flew to a 50 of his own. That before Holden made the most of being dropped earlier, the 19-year-old bringing up his maiden first-class century. Durham not helping themselves with a serious case of the dropsies, putting down a number of chances throughout the afternoon. A partnership of 150 at tea, Northamptonshire 317 for 5. It's probably worth asking exactly what was in that tea though. Northants' last 5 wickets falling for just 11 runs. Cobb caught 4 short of a century at slip by Collingwood from a lifter from Destroyer-in-Chief Paul Coughlin. Kleinfeld was caught in the deep by Richardson. Collingwood burgled Holden to give Pointer his 4th catch of the innings. Coughlin picked up his 5th, Jennings picking up a very easy catch off Buck. Before Collingwood finished the innings, Ben Sanderson dragging one on. Northants all out for 338, a disappointing end, but still 172 ahead. Durham got off to a much stronger start in their second innings, Cook and Jennings starting quietly before pushing things along. Cook was dropped by compatriot Kleinfeld, then Jennings fell with the score on 69, taking off for a run but being stumped after some sharp anticipation from keeper Rossington. Night watchman McCarthy hung on, and Durham ended the day 78 for 1. They'll have to bat well on day 3 to avoid defeat and make sure the visitors have to bat again. Mohamed Azarullah took 5 wickets on day 3 as Northamptonshire piled on the pressure at Durham. Durham was 78 for 1 going into day 3 at Chester Street, still 94 runs behind after Northamptonshire's first innings of 338, which comprised a maiden century from opener Max Holden and a solid contribution of 96 from Josh Cobb. Night watchman Barry McCarthy didn't stick around, his stumps splattered first ball by Rory Kleinfeldt. Then Stephen Cook played on to Ben Sanderson, and Graham Clark did the same to Kleinfeldt. It was up to Paul Collingwood and Cameron Steele to steady the ship and avoid an early end, the two batsmen combining to take Durham through to lunch without further loss at 160 for 4, but still trailing by 12 runs. Steele brought up his half-century once the players were back on the park, closely followed by Collingwood. Collingwood would then be bowled by Kleinfeldt, only for the bails to fall back into their grooves. Considerable disbelief on all sides. Northants would have their man soon after though, caught behind off Azarullah, ending a partnership of 143, which took Durham into the lead. Steele got a couple of gimmies from Hughes, which he dispatched to bring up his maiden first-class century, before Michael Richardson chose to walk and under edge onto the pad, carrying through to Rossington off Buck. Durham 290 for 6 at tea and a lead of 118. Steele continued to enjoy his time at the wicket before falling to Azarullah for 128. Durham not lying down as Ryan Pringle and Paul Coughlin batted on, regularly finding the boundary and further frustrating the Northants attack. Coughlin would eventually go for 20 to a ball from Azarullah, and that's when the bubble burst. Azarullah picking up Pointer and Gavin Main in quick succession to finish the innings at 376 with figures of 5 for 72. Pringle left unbeaten on 47. 205 the target for Northamptonshire, but Coughlin's form in this match continued and he had first innings centurion Max Holden gone for a duck. Rob Newton decided attack was better than defence, getting runs on the board even if they were a little streaky. Northants finishing on 44 for 1 with 161 left to get to bring them victory on day 4. There was incredible drama at Chester Street as the match went down to the final couple of balls. Northamptonshire were looking to make short work of chasing an additional 161 runs for victory at Chester Street after Durham showed some resilience on day 3 to set a target off the back of Cameron Steele's maiden first-class century. Rain held back Northants' aspirations in the morning, but with weather in the air, they then went after the target with gusto. Rob Newton and Alex Wakely going after the bowlers, with Wakely in particular getting stuck first into Paul Coughlin, then Barry McCarthy. With boundaries coming thick and fast, Wakely brought up his half-century. Tea was called right after as rain started to fall. Northants 100 for 1 in just 21 overs, with 105 still required to force the result. Northamptonshire were then stifled by the weather, rain preventing their march with exactly 100 runs to get. But once the players took the field, the batsmen wasted no time going about the chase, Rob Newton bringing up his 50. He was well caught by a diving McCarthy shortly after off Coughlin for 54 with 82 still to get. Durham spread the field with virtually all of the fielders stationed on the boundary. Having to run twos in search of victory, captain Alex Wakely was struck a nasty blow before finally being run out for a brave 84, 44 now needed from 43. Rob Keogh then skied one back to the bowler as Coughlin snaffled his 8th wicket of the match. More hard running from the batsman before Kleinfeldt was caught by Collingwood off the bowling of McCarthy. Then Josh Cobb was dropped and decided there was no time like the present, hitting a 6 and a 4 to take the team to within 9. Hughes ramped McCarthy for 4 but was out the next ball trying to repeat the shot. Northants left needing 3 from the final over. Rossington was then out too, caught behind off Coughlin, 2 now needed off 5. Then more drama. Cobb out-caught by Pringle to give Coughlin his 10th of the match. The score's tied with Nathan Buck on strike and 2 balls remaining. In the gloom, Buck swung and missed, But Sanderson ran through for a bye, and the game ended with a dramatic 2-wicket win for Northamptonshire.